what is the most misunderstood lesson from your books? You know, the 48 Laws of Power, which is my most popular book, a lot of people assumed that all you need to do and get ahead in life is to have these political skills, to be able to deceive people, to be able to crush your enemy totally, to, conceal your intentions, all blah, 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 blah. Being political and knowing how to manipulate is what will lead to success. And I made it clear in the introduction, the preface to the 48 Laws of Power, and in the book itself, that's not the game of life. If all you're after is manipulating people and deceiving them, the game will turn against you at some point. We'll reach a point where you'll have made enemies, where people won't like working with you, that you'll have turned so many people off that you will find it harder and harder and harder to gain power. And so what is misunderstood is that there's a very important aspect in the 48 Laws of Power that people ignore, which is building alliances, which is learning how to work with people, which is knowing how to be the perfect courtier, with knowing how to seduce and get people to like you and to be able to please with them, and to be able to work with them, and to be able to create compelling spectacles that excite them, and to make you somebody that recreate yourself, to make yourself somebody exciting and interesting and socially attractive. And that's a huge part of the 48 Laws of Power. And people misunderstand and misread the book as if the only thing that matters is conning and deceiving and manipulating. And it's a lesson that I think comes from people who don't really read the book seriously and don't really look at all of the laws and the contexts of them. What is the advice I would give to someone who is starting college next year? The one thing I would say is, well, there's several things. You want to have a balance between two things. If you can balance these two things, you will have an incredibly great experience. And one without the other will make an imbalanced university experience. So number one, you want to think of this as an adventure, something that's going to be exciting and that you're looking forward to. And you're going to have fun. Because if you don't go to university and don't have fun, well, something is truly wrong, right? This is going to be the most exciting, fun part of your life. Everybody who's been through college, like myself, we look back on that with incredible amounts of nostalgia. So you're going to be meeting all kinds of interesting, strange people. You're going to be taking all kinds of interesting classes and learning about them. You're going to be away from your family. Hooray! That's what we all want. You're going to be on your own. You're going to be independent. And you're going to have some fun. You're going to do some interesting adventures. You're not going to take risks and that threaten your life, but you're going to do things that you weren't allowed to do when you were in the home. You have some fun, have some adventure. So look forward to it. Look at it with an open spirit. Don't be so anxious and worried about it. Those 4 years go by really quickly, and you want to soak it up, and you want to enjoy, and you want to have a great time, and you want to meet lots of people, because it's going to be the most social period of your life. But the other thing is, you want to truly learn. You want to truly figure out the riddle of who you are. So when you're born, there's something unique about it. There's something unusual about you in your genetics, in the family that brought you up, where you're from, the culture that you are, your early experiences. There's something different about you, something unique and unusual. I want you to think that you were destined to create something important and contribute to society. And in your college years, you're trying to figure that out. It's like a riddle that you are solving. It's not like you go into college and go, damn it, I'm going to get an MBA. I'm going to get my job at Goldman Sachs when I'm 23, 25. I'm going to be making six figures. No, that's the wrong way to approach it, okay? You're going to be exploring the things that interest you, and you want to have a kind of keep it somewhat broad. So if you're interested in science, which is a great thing nowadays, you want to kind of figure out what are the kind of forms of science that interest me the most? What is the direction? And within that overall direction, you want to choose a variety of subjects and see which one excites you and learn. You have to end up at the end of those 4 years with some sense of things that truly excite you, that you want to perhaps build a career on, okay? If you only go into college with this kind of nervous energy of, I've got to study, and I've got to get into med school, etc., you're going to miss out on all the excitement, because you're only young once. And when you're young, the world is fantastic. It's beautiful. You look good. You have energy. Everything should be exciting, and you're going to miss out on it. But if everything is all about adventure, taking drugs, going to parties, bonging beers, etc., you're going to come out and you're going to be a loser. You haven't built anything. You haven't developed any skills. You don't have any patience. You can't develop yourself once you're out of university. If you can balance the two, if you can have fun and excitement and adventures, and you can learn and also have fun in figuring out exciting subjects that excite you, then the university will be the most amazing experience you will ever have. I'm kind of telling you how I experienced college, so that's a little bit selfish of me, but that's what I had. I had the strangest, most weirdest adventures that I've ever had in my life. Yes, I experimented with drugs because I was searching for something, but I also had some of the greatest classes that I can remember, learning experiences that to this day have had a tremendous impact on you. Find a balance of that. Think of this college that you're entering as this incredible adventure. You're like starting a travel on the ocean, or you're traveling to some great place. It's an adventure. Be excited by it, but also sense that I'm also excited by the opportunity to learn things and to find out who I am and what I were meant to accomplish in this world. Who are the earliest positive inspirational influences on my life? As a child, I would have to point out my sister, my older sister, who I'm still very close to, Leslie, 4 years older than me. Growing up, we were very, very close, and we had such a similar sense of humor that she made me feel comfortable about myself. She had a major, major impact on how I developed socially and my relationship to women. So she was a very positive impact. And then I had a very close friend who I'm still very close with, Elliot Shane, who's a really good writer and a poet, lives in the Bay Area. Elliot and I, we just really clicked. We were very creative. We had our own kind of radio show that we built, which was incredibly juvenile, but we had a lot of fun. And Elliot and I ended up, when we were 17, 18, taking a trip around the country in a VW van, and we had the weirdest adventures. It was almost kind of frightening what it was like on our own, traveling all over the United States. He had a big impact on me. But then I'd have to point out one other person. My high school English teacher, Mr. Smith. I forget what his first name was, maybe Robert. Mr. Smith was a very strange guy, but he was a really good teacher. He wasn't strange, he just had a kind of a strange sense of humor, I think. Anyway, he taught English, and I had him for what's called AP English, Advanced Placement English. I thought I was like this really young hotshot who was a great writer. I was 16, man, I was the hottest thing on the planet. And I turned in this essay I remember very vividly, which I thought was really fancy and really good with all these 3-syllable words in it. I was expecting an A+. Got it back and it had a C on it. It had all this red pencil marks. I was like, what the hell? What's wrong here? And Mr. Smith explained to me, he said, Robert, when you write an essay, it's not about you. It's not about showing off. It's not about all your clever little language and phrases. It's about communicating an idea. And your communication of the idea got lost in all of this language that you were creating and all this kind of weird poetry that you thought you were writing. Just have an idea that you've thought through and communicated directly, and think of your reader, and everything will be fine. It was such a great lesson that I never, to this day, haven't forgotten about it. It had a major impact on my writing. And whenever I write something to this day that I think smacks of being kind of self-indulgent, which I'm trying to show off, I hear that little Mr. Smith voice in my head, kind of being kind of cranky and telling me that's the wrong way to go. You're actually being very selfish, and you're writing poorly. You're not communicating your idea. So my childhood friends, my sister Elliot, God bless him, he's still alive, and he'll live much longer. And then Mr. Smith. Those were 3 very important people who influenced me growing up.